Another powerful district we're going to discuss today, Digsy, and it's 4-5A Division Two. We always talk about those monster matchups in the first round of the playoffs. It is another district, like I said last week. There's five teams that probably all feel like going into the season they're almost feel like a definite playoff team, and only four makes it. Let's start with the reigning champions at Walnut Grove, who, as long as they can get their boy Hayes Hackney off the daggone baseball diamond and into some spring workouts, they're going to really get some things going because a freshman won District Player of the Year. That's got to bode well for Tommy Allison's squad, not only next season, but for seasons to come.
You know, and what I like about Coach Allison and his squad, this is our reigning and defending Coach of the Year, and he gets better every year. 2 years ago, Walnut Grove was doing crazy things, beating Arkansas State championships on a renegade schedule. This year, all they did was win district. And last week, we kind of talked about how Argyle is our regional champion in waiting. Well, I'm sure Walnut Grove is going to be pasting that on their bulletin board, saying, we got some more disrespect. We've already got Argyle as our reigning district, our regional champion. That's what Walnut Grove wants to do, and I know that they're going to have that goal. And when you've got 6,000 yards, Ward, 6,000 yards of returning offense coming back, I can see why you get excited about that. You got the aptly named Cam Newton, who all he's going to do is just run through all of the defenses, because last year that's what he was doing as a junior. And now as a senior, he's going to get faster. He's going to get stronger. This guy can have 3,000 yards if they go 13, 14 weeks this year. And then you got Haynes Hackney, who's just going to get more comfortable in the pocket. He's going to get more mature. He only had 3,700 yards last year. And how do you improve on as a freshman 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions? I mean, he's making smart plays as it is and letting his receivers work. I know he's got our guy Luke, that was our person who we had as our fantasy person last year, Luke Watkins. He was a fantastic part of that, so they got to replace him. But I think they're going to have really good receivers. I think Hayden Cooley is going to be the new Luke Watkins. He had 714 yards last year and 4 touchdowns. Zayden Crane also had really good yardage last year. So Walnut Grove is really looking good on offense, but their defense mostly comes back as well. Chris Williams, Keller Pittenger are names to watch on the defensive side. They're going to get even better this year, and they're going to have to, because the district is very top heavy. And when it's good, you got to play good. But unlike in District 3-5A, you've got the haves and the have-nots in this district. So it's like you gotta be ready for those 3 games where you're battling, because you're going to have some 70-0 games, as we saw last year as well.
Absolutely, and there's quarterbacks galore coming back in this district. I talked about the running backs last week, but it was quarterbacks as well. But with Lovejoy, with Janasek, you got Anna with DeAndre Williams, who we talked about ad nauseum with his legs and his arm, and then you got Noah Zubak for the Shuback for the Militia Cardinals that didn't even make the postseason last year. Talk to me about how these quarterbacks are going to light up the sky again and have another one of those Lovejoy Anna type games that I got to see live last year.
We talked last week about how the fact that every quarterback is coming back. So this year, when we have these playoff games, we're going to be talking about battle-tested quarterbacks who are going to be battling. I mean, we're going to have in the regular season, we're going to have Zyandre versus Janasek 3, and 1 and 2 last year, both were amazing games. So I know you already got that penciled in as we got to do Lovejoy Anna 3, and those are going to be 2 teams that I think in some ways are taking a step up, but Walnut Grove is taking a step up. So where do you take a step up? Like, everybody is coming back loaded to bear. The one thing I worry about with Lovejoy, even though they got Todd Dodge in his second year, which historically that's when they take their step, is a lot of the depth issues with Lovejoy. Because when you lose Dalen McCutcheon, who's going to come and replace that production? But Zach Jones came back, but I think running back might be a little bit of a weakness. I think wide receiver, relatively speaking, is going to be a little bit of a weakness. But I think what Lovejoy has that Anna doesn't have is what I call that infrastructure. From 10 to 30, those 10 to 30 players for Lovejoy are really, really good. That offensive line is going to be really good. Those linebackers are going to be good. The defensive line is going to be good. And I think that's only going to increase with Todd Dodge and his tutelage and just kind of that aura of Dodge. So Lovejoy is going to get better. But then you look at Anna, and just like last year, Anna is star-studded. Zyandre Williams is just everything you could want. 3,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing, 51 touchdowns. I've heard that Farrell Brown might be the next Chumley. He had 400 yards last year and 5 touchdowns. Ace Trailer, one of their best receivers, he's back. And I think he's ready to take a leadership role with Rowan Nylander. They've got the best offensive lineman in the state in Peyton Miller, and they got Cash Williams on the defensive side of the ball. So can Anna finally overcome that Lovejoy hump? That's kind of the issue because they lost last year twice to them, but they also beat Walnut Grove. So Anna can legitimately come into this district not afraid and think, man, if we can just beat Lovejoy, this is our district.
Yeah, and you talk about their battle with 3-5A Division II. Boy, 3 of the 4 playoff teams all lost to Argyle, so to get knocked out of the postseason. So that's going to be everybody from 3-5A to 4-5A is going to have Argyle on the mind. Talk to me about Melissa, because were heartbroken, obviously, for missing the playoffs, but they return a quarterback. They return a big old bar in the backfield. Talk to me about that team, and maybe talk about how Emerson's going to try their hardest to find a way to get back in.
Well, last year, if you listen to our podcast, we have Flowers and we have Shovels. And I buried Emerson last year, and then they go ahead and make the playoffs. But I buried them for 2025 as well. I said, oh, they're done. So I got to stick with it. It was on the podcast. It's true. And when you look at what Melissa has and having that chip on the shoulder of not making the playoffs and Emerson graduating as much as they did, it's really going to be an uphill climb for Emerson. I think Melissa is a solid number 4, and I think there's a bit of a gap now with Frisco Emerson. I think they're just kind of on that island there at number 5. But all it takes is one upset. Just like last year, and all of a sudden, last year we were talking about Walnut Grove, and if Walnut Grove could just get that one upset, well, they ended up getting all of them. So Emerson could definitely look at the playbook of Walnut Grove and just completely change all of our minds again, because everybody in this district is so talented. But Bear Tabor, 780 yards as a freshman. Noah Schubach had 2,000 yards, and I know he really wanted to come here from Alabama and prove something, and I think that this is going to be the year to prove something. Dalton Dabina is going to be a talented player at wide receiver. He's going to play both sides. Max Corbin, one of the best defensive players in the district, is going to be back for Melissa. And Melissa had really good depth last year, so they're going to be coming back with a lot of starters who I think we're going to get to learn from. And I think they're going to have a big chip on their shoulder last year. What many people consider one of the most underachieving teams in the area. So I know they're being lit into to improve that. But man, Frisco Emerson and most other districts would make the playoffs, but we're looking at them this year as kind of a tough luck number 5.
There's 4 other teams in this district who combined for 6 wins last year.
Yeah, when you look at Denison and you look at the Frisco schools, it's really tough sledding for them. And not only did they not play very well last year, we kind of joked that there were a lot of 70-0 games, 70-14 games. There were. I mean, that's not even an exaggeration. There were quite a few games that had 50 to 60 point spreads when you had the top 4 and the bottom 4. And then when you look at the fact that they graduated almost everybody, very senior laden teams, it's going to be tough for them. Denison may have one of the best players in the district that nobody's talking about, the wide receiver, Brandon Douglas. He is absolutely electric. Lucas Womack may be in the running for quarterback for Denison. Frisco Liberty, I think they may take a step up. They got a quarterback coming back in Kai Button, and they got a new coach and Coach Chip Gregory. So I think they could be a little bit better. Frisco Memorial's got their quarterback coming back in Ben Wilson and Beckett Martin. We know that Frisco Memorial has had a lot of upheaval with the passing of Austin Metcalf, and so what's that going to look like for the program? Football is not going to be the first thing on their mind right now at Memorial. There's a lot of healing that needs to go on there. And Frisco Independence, they have no returning all-district starters, and they've only got one linebacker, Landon Dudenbostel, who is the only underclassman who I could find who actually played last year. So Frisco Independence is going to have a tough run of it. But they did overachieve a little bit last year, whereas Frisco Memorial kind of underachieved last year based on what we thought they were going to be. So if one of these 3 schools is going to take a step up and maybe compete with Denison, I think it's going to be Frisco Liberty this year.
Well, give me the 1 through 9 here.
I got Walnut Grove number 1, Lovejoy number 2, Anna number 3, and I got those really close. I think all 3 of those teams are going to be top 5 in the area to start out with. Melissa number 4, Frisco Emerson 5, got Denison 6, Frisco Liberty 7, Frisco Memorial 8, and Frisco Independence at the bottom of the district at number 9.